Morning. Welcome to day 26 of trading Momo strategy in the simulator. Take a look at what we got today. S&P 500 gapped up, but it's not quite at all-time highs. Kind of been gapping up and then coming down, gapping up and coming down. US oil has kind of been going sideways for a little bit. People aren't sure what's going to happen, I guess. Today, in terms of stocks, we got BDRX, which is holding above VWAP right now and has quite a bit of volume. It is a biotech stock with a low float, so perhaps biotechs are going to be a theme for a little bit considering the move from the other day. We're going to keep an eye on this one for 7 a.m. We've got Mask below the 200 moving average right now. Hong Kong company, after hours news. Decent move after hours. Now we're just on continuation. Also a low float. We can keep an eye on this one. I have 268. It's a little bit cheaper. VLZE, his float is too high. US Go is too cheap. And everything else is not really interesting. ELPW made a big move during regular hours. It's been on continuation for a few days here. Over 500%. We need to get back up to $10 for it to be back up to the highs. I'm not particularly interested in putting that on watch. DNSP kind of just sold off after the big move yesterday. So we're back down to 7. So this is another stock that's got to get back up to $10 to be interesting. So my main stocks on watch this morning are going to be BDRX and Mask, but mainly BDRX being a low float biotech. Doesn't have news, but it's possible a quick 7 a.m. surge in volume might give it a mini catalyst here. We'll see. Its high is 65%. Or 562%. So unfortunately, I do have to leave a bit early this morning. I'll stay until 8:30, but then I have to leave due to work. So I won't be here until the opening bell or 9 or 9:15. I'll watch for news up until 8:30 and then I gotta go. But today is gonna be another day of base hits anyways. I might, not even trade at the open, so. Or I wouldn't have traded at the open anyways. We're still focusing on base hits, recovering some of that drawdown, getting some confidence back, and focusing on the setups that I have the most edge. Breaking news with fresh news and high of day squeezes. And any obvious technical breakouts we can see. Got 30 seconds till 7. So we're kind of bouncing off of VWAP and the 200 moving average right now on this. So first candle to make a new high would be around 511 for that surge in volume. I trade it with very small share size. Take a small position for the surge in volume. Just 25 shares. It's not pulling away, so I'm just going to get out. It popped up a little bit, but that's not enough of a surge in volume to warrant being in the trade. And we have some other news popping up here now, so. LRB popping up at 7 a.m. Probably has news, I just don't see it yet. Our moving average is up at 6. It is up 100% on the day. So we broke through the 200 moving average there. Problem is that I see some people saying in the community that it's easy to borrow. We might wait for a proper pullback on this. It is pulling away there. Got some high volume selling up there, 720. So this pullback here would have worked 650 up to 720. This is the same catalyst as the one from the other day, basically, except it doesn't say private placement. It just says financing. Once again, the news headline comes out 5 minutes later, so it's difficult sometimes. Even though it's a 7 a.m. headline, it popped up just now on Day Trade Dash at 7:05. So we're doing a test of VWAP setup right now. We're still holding the 20 EMA. On the 10-second there. Some sellers popping up there. VWAP is 630. This may be a bear trap setup if it breaks up back through 630 for the retest back up to 7. As long as it holds, doesn't drop down any further here at 6. we break 630, we'll take a small position. Stop is 625. Oh, back out. Breaking back down for a false breakout. Quite high volume selling there. We're coming back up here again. I will take another position at 630, looking for the breakthrough this time because we're coming back up very quickly. We have a nice entry candle there. I'll give this one a little bit of room to move here. This pivot was 640. Forming another entry candle on the 1 minute, and we have a minute left on the 5-minute candle. So I do expect this to come back up here and potentially break through. If it rejects one more time, then I have to just get out. The stop is 620. My level 2 is lagging, it looks like. That's not good. I'm just gonna have to get out here because we're failing to break that resistance level. And my level 2 is lagging for some reason. Probably saw it on stream that my level 2 paused there for quite a few seconds. So now we're looking for a break of 650. It's doing it again. We're coming up again, but I can't get in to anticipate the break anymore because we're 2 for 2. Two for 2 losses. So my rules are, trading around VWAP and kind of no man's land area. This is a technical breakout setup for the reclaim of VWAP. Both of these entries, I was expecting a bear trap on the first one. It ended up being a false break. And then I expected, since we're kind of double bottoming down here, second retest of VWAP sometimes sees a big squeeze if it breaks through. But now I have to wait for an actual break since we got quite a bit of resistance up here at 650, 47. So WG is a bit cheaper with a higher float. It's popping up on my scanners, but I'm not really interested in it. We do have a bull flag set up on the 5 minute. So a breakthrough 650 would be a bull flag, a 5-minute bull flag setup here. We are negative on MACD. The news on SOWG. We are breaking high of day here. Retested that 230 level. It's a bit of a higher float, but I'll take a position here, 238. Top is 230. Looking for 250. Saw a couple profit targets at 248, 249. We are struggling up here, but this could be first candle to make a new high. I have to get out because we're breaking down. So we're at $32 red for the day. So max loss is $50, but let me check what. So 75% max loss for a trader rehab situation is about $37. So one more trade in the red. If I take one more red trade, then I'm done. Here, BB has a very low float. Got room up to 10. Very light volume. See if it has news. I don't think this one has news. First candle to make a new high on this would be the breakthrough 9 for the retest of 950. Does have big range. This pullback back here would have worked, but I just couldn't manage my risk on it. You know, 11,000 shares of buying volume, like that's not nearly enough volume to be able to guarantee being able to have enough liquidity to get in and out safely. There's a big spike from 760 all the way up to 940, but I didn't see any news. Don't know what the catalyst is. Very light volume, so can't really manage your risk on that. So the thing I should be doing, you know, instead of jumping on stuff, ARBB, you know, for a gamble, so to speak, I decided just not to trade it. And wait for something that looks good in setup and selection. So SOWG, I jumped on it because it was breaking out there, but it only moved up 10 cents from 230 up to 240, and it just wasn't strong enough. SOWG did have like private placement news, so when I saw that, I thought maybe it could at least give a 15-cent move for a break through the highs. But I couldn't even do that, which is unfortunate. So low float, moving quickly. 200's up at 7. This one has a little bit more volume than the last one. I have 5. I don't know what the news is on it again. It looks like we're holding 5. We do have increasing volume, but we got a couple of topping tails. We're having pop up today. Market finally heating up. That's what I want to know. So we'll see. I have to be very careful if I want to recover this loss. Otherwise, I'll be hitting max loss with the next trade. So just waiting. I don't see any news on this one either. Slowly curling back up on this. Minus 380. I don't see any news. Has volume coming in. So one of the things that I'm thinking about here is, how did I get myself into this situation? Or I'm down $32 in the day while I'm in trader rehab. I suppose that I still consider VWAP setups to be a trader rehab setup. My two trades on CLRB were bear traps. BDRX was a 7 a.m. squeeze. And SOWG was a high day squeeze setup. It's just that the flow was a lot higher than normal and it was a cheaper price, so I shouldn't have jumped in it. So this is probably still over trading for what I should be doing. Even if I recovered this loss today, what I need to do going forward is, I think, act like a sniper. Not in my strategy to be trading this much, so the fact that I have 4 trades by 7:30 means that I'm over trading. So what I need to do is I just need to remove VWAP setups from my my technical setups for now. They haven't been working. I've been losing a ton on them. I just need to focus on breaking news, fresh news, and hive day squeezes, and the occasional gap and goes if they're really good at the open. But the best time to get in on CLRB was, right when it had fresh news down here. It was right at the 200 moving average, which is at 6, but the pullbacks worked anyway. I couldn't see the news until the move was already over. So once again, I mean, back here, I didn't know what the news was. We had the 200 moving average up at 6. And the float, I mean, it wasn't a sub 1 million share float like the one from the other day. It was a 4 million share float. And it was easy to borrow, according to a lot of people in the community. So there were a lot of things that kept me out of the front side of the move here. But the front side was the easiest one to trade. I mean, where else would it have been easy? I guess this double bottom down here, but I don't trade below VWAP. So that's not a part of my setup. Everywhere else above VWAP here for the rest of the day on this stock was basically a no-go, because this ended up being resistance. I mean, the breakthrough VWAP, it could have squeezed up, but it didn't. So a technical breakout that would have been obvious to traders is if it did this, came up and tested 650 3 times, and then it ended up breaking out through here. I mean, that would be a better technical breakout setup than maybe just buying for the reclaim of VWAP. It would have been more proven. It would have been more obvious. It would have been 2 breakouts at the same time, break back through VWAP and the break of a technical level. So today's loss could have been eliminated just by not trading anything. It would have been hands off. Even if I didn't trade this back here. Even if I didn't trade this back here, that would have been fine, because I couldn't guarantee that it would squeeze up from 6 up to 680. Because of a number of factors. I mean, this was a better pullback than most because it pulled back to the 200 moving average and it held and continued higher. Up here as well, this pulled back to previous resistance level, which became support, and it popped from 650 up to 7. So one of these 2 pullbacks would have worked. It's just that it was easy to borrow. And, when we're hovering around the 200 moving average, a fresh break of the 200 moving average can be a little bit sketchy sometimes, because shorts, if it's easy to borrow, will aggressively short, because if it breaks back down through the 200 moving average, then it's pretty likely that it's going to sell off the rest of the day, because then we're stuck below water, below the surface. So when I do my trader report card for today, I'm gonna give myself a D. And I think in the future, I'm just gonna focus on breaking news and 5-day breaks. I'm gonna be a sniper, wait for the setups to form, no matter how painful it is, sitting around doing nothing. I just have to get better at those two first. And the gap and goes, I'll have those three setups that I'll focus on. I need to get good at those before I do anything else to become profitable. And then once I have a master of those and I don't miss the large parts of the move like I did the other day, and I can consistently capture profits from it, maybe then I can start, mastering some other setups, throwing some other setups in between. And if it's a hotter market as well, it looks like we're warming up today. Things are popping up. They're just not holding up yet. So it feels like that transition period where traders are going to start to jump on things. Like they're jumping on low floats, seems like. But we got to wait for stuff to actually hold up for you to consider it a hot market. But once it is a hot market, then things are going to heat up. Setups are going to work easier. It'll be a bit easier to, spread your wings and try flying in with different setups without getting smoked. So what I'm doing right now is I basically am slamming the brakes, right? I wanted to go this morning. I had my foot on the gas. We're crashing into civilians here. We're not doing very well. So we're not going to get tilted about it. We're just going to fix it. This has news. So it's got an advisory leader, someone from Meta. It's a little bit cheaper, Canadian company. Doesn't have very much volume. To be fair to myself, Ross is also red on CLRB today. He's down, about the same amount as me. He's down $3,400, but if I multiplied my account by 100, so that I was trading with his share size, and that would be about the same. The difference between me and him, though, is that he only took one trade. He took bigger size because he's been making a lot of money the past few days, so he can afford to be aggressive with his share size. He bought for the break of 7, but he bought, 3,000 share blocks. He bought like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. about 7 blocks of 3,000 shares. It's 21,000 shares. So he only took one trade and ended up losing on it. You know, I took 4 trades and lost on 3 of them. And traded smaller size. That's the difference between me and him. He can afford to be aggressive for a single setup that he thinks is going to work, and I cannot. But it is interesting so far, the journey that I've had on stream for the past month, 26 trading days, is that the more I trade, the more I have to reduce the amount I'm trading. Because focusing on accuracy for me so far has been a losing battle. The only solution that I've found is to focus on the setups with the most edge during this gold market. It's pretty rough. DGXX has been grinding higher all day here. It's up 62%. And it looks like it just bounced off of a daily level here up at 7. DGXX is 62 million share float, so we're not really interested in that. If you shed your biases about the float, right here is a flat top break setup. And it grinded from 5 all the way up to 7, which is interesting. My theory of exit indicators would have worked pretty well on this because there was no reason to exit until this shooting star right here. Now we're probably on the backside with high volume selling. But the reason to exit would have been this rejection off of 7 because this is a daily level up here, 675, 678. We broke it. We immediately rejected. So that would be a place to take profits or sell. That is kind of interesting. But I wasn't paying attention to this at all because higher float. This news is okay though. It's a AI headline for a data center. Hopefully we get news at 8 or 8:30. I've said before this morning, but say it again. I do have to leave early today. I have to leave at 8:30. I'll wait to see if there's any news, 8:30 to 8:33, but I have to leave by 8:45. Just for work, unfortunately. We might end up stomaching another loss today if we don't have time to make it back. So we got 9 minutes to the opening bell. I do want to be transparent with you guys here. Um, Even though it's embarrassing, I didn't do a recap last Sunday, but you know, things have just been getting worse and worse. We started off the challenge pretty good here. You know, in March we had 4 green days. We were up 155 bucks. I had a nice trade on the RTL. And for the first few weeks of April, we had a few green weeks here, even though the third week we had, 2 days that could have been avoided going red trading at the open. We had a few green weeks, but 2 weeks ago, I had that big loss on that higher price stock, on a stock that was actually a good opportunity for a breaking news setup. Ended up going $120 in the red. The last week, I had basically no trade days. So the 27th was a no trade day. The 28th was technically a green day because I got green trading at the open. It was $50 green, but I didn't include it because that was a day where I was trading at the open outside of my rules. Because realistically, with real money, it would have been a no trade day because the 28th was the Tuesday that a lot of brokers were having issues. So if I were trading with real money, I would have shut down my station and not trade for the rest of the day. So, I didn't count that. If I counted that, it would be just a very slightly green week, maybe like 20 bucks green. But if you include Friday into that mix, $6, if it were with commissions, it would be a break-even week last week. But it would be red. It would have been a red week if I was actually trading with real money because I would have shut down I would have shut down the station. So it would have been a red week last week. And this week so far, I mean, the $12 green day yesterday, that was okay, even though I gave back half of my profits on CNSB, which wasn't a good thing. I don't think that second trade was a bad trade. It lost me the $10 of profit. I noticed yesterday, I was really, really tired yesterday. And when I did my recap, I even only just covered my first 3 trades, and I said I didn't take any more trades after that, but I did. I took one up at 10, and I lost $5 on it, so I gave back $5 of profit just trading with 10 shares for the breakthrough 10. And then I took another scratch trade later on for first candle to make a new high, and it didn't end up working out. And then I gave back on CLNN $10. CLNN is the one that I was referring to. I don't think that this was really bad. I haven't filled in the rest of the tags for this yet either, but I mean, yesterday could have been a much bigger opportunity for me. I was just very tired and I kind of missed it. But that's really been the theme for a lot of these stocks that have popped up, though, is that I've just been missing the biggest moves of the day on them, and it's for one reason or another. The reason why I missed it yesterday was because I exited too early. It rejected off of high of day, and I was like, all right, well, it's taking too long to come back up. I'm going to cut it before it drops. It ends up breaking through. Because I just cut it, I didn't get back in for the break because I was already skeptical of it. And that ended up being a $1.50 move. I did end up capturing a little bit of the rest of the move after the first pullback. But if I had either kept my share size the other day and not exited too early, then I could have scaled into the trade because I would have had a good foothold and I could have made quite a bit of money. But that's been the theme, is that, I mean, we've had opportunities here for me to make bigger green days. The last big day that I captured was on ARTL, which was over a month ago. The rest of them have all been small green days, but we have had opportunities on bird. We've had at least 3. I know I could have made a lot more, but I just messed up or captured only a small part of the move or whatever other reason. But it's really been downhill for the past 3 weeks for me. So this is why I've been saying I'm in trader rehab, and with today being a potentially a $32 red day, it's very dangerous. I'm in the simulator, so I don't feel as much emotion as I would be trading with real money, but this would be a pretty dangerous situation, trading with real money. My gross cumulative P&L looks like a roller coaster. Started off very well. So this is the visualization of what I talked about on the calendar. Started off really well, up 200 bucks. Drawdown gave back 50. And, recovered the drawdown up to 250. Now second drawdown down to 190, up to 268. So it was looking good, even though the drawdowns are bigger. I showed this on the stream before that I needed to reduce these drawdowns, which is why I reduced my maximum risk. And then I took that big loss 2 weeks ago, Wednesday. Gave back all of my profits for, the entire length that I was streaming almost. I had a green day, brought it back up a little bit. And since then, it's kind of just been downhill. If you're looking at a chart in real time, this would be the correction. 1 pullback, 2 pullback, and now the 3rd pullback. So what I need to do is, like I said, I need to reset my mind, focus on the setups that have been working, and do a reversal of this P&L. Make it come back up to the highs somehow. I think that I've revised my strategy enough. It's just, it's a matter of executing it and not letting my mental get to me. You can see my accuracy dropped below 45% if you count everything overall. You count only breaking news, 5-day squeeze, the bread and butter setups. We're directly at 50% right now. There's a few scratch trades in there. Whoops. There's a few scratch trades in there. And obviously I removed the emotional trades, which were the big drawdowns. But I mean, a good profit loss ratio, right? Up 300 bucks. This is what my P&L should look like, is something more like this, except these drawdowns are still too big. Needs to be reduced. But I already changed my strategy to accommodate that, reducing my maximum risk. It's just, it hasn't been reflected here yet. The drawdowns are less, but I haven't really been making any money for the past week or so. And for my tag breakdowns, I'm still making money. I would be making money if I removed those big drawdown days. But I just wanted to be transparent about that since I haven't shown it for a few weeks. I've only been trading 9 months. So we're still pretty new at this. This is why we're in this simulator. But we're gonna turn it around. I believe that I will. We're not doing too bad for a newer trader. All things considered. But, adding today into the mix, it doesn't feel good. But we have to have some accountability at some point, right? For our decisions. It's 8:02 right now. I haven't seen any news pop up. It's kind of interesting that it's curling back up like this when it has no news. I guess it is continuation, right? Recent reverse split and a break over this 461 level. But high was 560 up here. It is quite interesting. There's a lot popping up, but there's nothing holding up yet. So it's possible that we do, if nothing holds up, we go right back to cold market. SOWG is now negative on the day. The LRB is almost a full round trip by now. EDRX has been selling off. Stock has quite a bit of range. This previous daily level, 461, which is pretty close to VWAP. But here I go again. I mean, I was considering an entry here. Why? I just finished talking about how I should only trade breaking news or fresh high of day breaks. So I need to sit still. That's because I want to make back that $32, but I can't. I have to accept that it's out of my control. Either I get something that has a good opportunity or I don't. Thinking about process, not profitability. And success will eventually come. We're sitting tight. Hopefully we get something at 8:15 or 8:30, or I'm gonna have to leave early for the day for work. BIA was a previous mover. Making another move again today. See that the relative volume on it is really low. It's got that increasing volume on the 1 minute. I don't know why. Have news? FC had a merger. It is also interesting how much sleep affects you. I didn't sleep very well last night either. Slept better than I did on Sunday though. I'm feeling better than I did yesterday. My dog has been waking me up in the middle of the night. He woke me up like 2 times last night, and then I had to wake up once myself to go to the washroom. Woke up like 3 times. So I'm gonna watch for 8:15 news here. This would be a bear trap setup for the breakthrough 150. Got that big bottoming tail. We got the bullish engulfing candle. But I'm not getting in for it. It's also cheaper stock. Not really else moving right now. I'm not sure why BIA is moving. It doesn't have news. BTIX 18 million share float. Popped up and then selling off. Excuse me. So we wait for 8:30. While we wait for 8:30, I'm gonna turn off my camera and eat a protein bar because I have to leave soon. All right, that's enough protein bar for now. quite interesting that this higher float stock is the one that's moving the best today. Today was a good day if you were a short seller. CLRB dropped from $7 down to $4. SOWG dropped from 240 down to 147. All of those low float stocks that popped up just sold off. Mask, EDRX. BIA is selling off now. Everything except for DGXX. One thing I heard is that it's a well-supported fact that some days in the market are just better than other days. And sometimes you can tell right at the start of the day, which we kind of did today. I mean, LRB popped up, but it didn't hold up. Stepped up to the plate for the first pullback, got smoked, could have stopped right there. You know, variance in the market sometimes just says that it's going to be a loss day today. If you can learn to walk away sooner and not overtrade, read that kind of sentiment sooner, and you can save yourself a lot of unnecessary losses. So 4 minutes to 8:30. I'll give it till until 8:35. But if there's nothing that pops up before 8:35 with news that meets my criteria, then I will have to shut it down for the day. Doggo's on the couch staring at me too. You still see Doggo in the camera? Yeah, you can still see Doggo in the camera. What, am I paying attention to you? Am I paying attention? You want the pets? You want the pets? He just wants to go upstairs because he hears my dad waking up. So this one was just a progress report to shareholders, just a letter. Not really that strong in terms of news. light volume right now. All right, watching for 8:30. We've got news, but we don't have anything popping up. All right, I am gonna do my recap because I don't see anything on the scanners. Unless something pops up in the next couple minutes while I'm doing my recap, then I have to leave early for the day because of work, unfortunately. Uh, so BDRX was my first trade right at 7 a.m. because it was one of our top leading gainers. It was just for the first pop for the 7 a.m. volume because it seemed like the most likely thing for people to focus on. Let's see. So right here, we were retesting VWAP and we had an entry candle. So I got in just for first candle to make a new high for potential 7 a.m. pop back up to 550, and it didn't end up working out, and then it sold off. Ended up being a $1 gain, but it would have been a scratch trade with commissions. CLRB popped up, and I did try to step up to the plate for this one after it sort of held up around VWAP. You know, it didn't technically hold up because it dropped below VWAP, but I bought for the squeeze back through VWAP for potential, you know, bear trap, reclaim a VWAP setup. Didn't work, rejected, came back up a second time, bought it a second time, hoping for the breakthrough 640, rejected again. Bought at 710 and 712, which were, you know, the squeeze right here. And this one right here. I tried twice. They failed both times. I stopped trusting the stock at that point. But that put me down $20 on the day. You know, the reason why I like this stock is because, like the other day, it's also a biotech stock with two sets of news. It had a private, you know, not a private placement, but oversubscribed financing, 140 million, similar to the stock from the other day. And it also had a positive, you know, positive progress report. So it had two things that I liked about it, and that's why it squeezed up over 100%. I didn't buy it on the first couple of pullbacks because it was right below the 200 moving average, which was at 6. So it was hard for me to trust that it was going to hold up right away, not just bounce off of 6. It ended up breaking through. There were a couple of pullbacks that I could have gotten in on it, but it was also easy to borrow, according to some people in Ross's trading community. So I was just skittish of it initially. And I thought that maybe if we squeeze back through VWAP, we could at least retest Hive Day, but it didn't end up doing that. And then I traded SOWG at 720. It's selling off now. But I got in for this bullish engulfing. Wait, no. Not the bullish engulfing candle, sorry. I got in for the break high of day. So we pulled back here. We pulled back, held high of day, which was 230. And I got in for 238. So first candle to make a new high, expecting it to at least go up to 250. The problem with SOWG is that, where is it? It's down on the day now. SOWG is that it's a 14 million share float. So it ended up not pulling away. But this one was kind of trading a float outside of my price range, or outside of my float range that I normally trade. Because it was breaking high of day, I thought it was, you know, an okay opportunity to make just 15 cents on 100 shares, 15 bucks. You know, my goal on this wasn't extravagant. It was just for it to squeeze up to 250, 15 cents, but it couldn't even do that. So it ended up being another loss for me. And that puts me $32 down on the day. Not a good situation. So what we're going to do when we come back tomorrow is we're going to activate sniper mode, because these kind of curling VWAP setups, like curling setups, haven't been working. VWAP setups haven't been working. So anything that's not breaking news, Hive Day squeeze, like a breakout of Hive Day, or a gap and go at the open that looks good, is going to be on my no trade list. I can't continue to just siphon both profits and have big loss days because I'm trying to trade setups around VWAP. Whether they work or not, it doesn't matter. I don't have an edge on them right now. Most of my profits are coming from 5-day squeeze and the breaking news setups and the gap and go setups. So I should just focus on those until I regain some confidence, regain some profits, and gain more experience, because there's still stuff I can work on with those, right? Like the breaking news and the high day squeeze setups. I mean, I've missed several opportunities to capture a large part of the moves. I've still been profitable on them, but I haven't been skilled enough to find the exact entries to capture most of the profits. So we're going to continue working on that and just reel back the amount that we're trading. That's the plan. $32 red day. It sucks. Like to timestamp your trades on your charts on Dash or Sterling when I'm done. Yeah, maybe I could do that after I finish trading. I mean, I could just circle it with my brush tool like I've been doing, but I could do that like right when the trade is done. Or I can, make notations as I'm doing it, or like shortly after the trade is done. I do record everything though, and I have a report card. So I just started doing that recently, where I timestamp my trade and write out exactly what my thought process was and what I did right, what I did wrong, and what I need to work on in the future. I do have that, but I could do more with timestamping my trades on the charts too. And then I could take a screenshot of them and then keep the screenshot in my report card as well. Because I have a lot to work on. It was a lot more than I initially thought I had to work on, but like my accuracy before, uh, even during a cold market before, was a lot higher than it is right now. I was sitting at 65% accuracy, but the problem is that my profit loss ratio was a large contributor to that accuracy, because it was less than 1-to-1. Like it was 1 to 0.75, and that's why I wasn't profitable, is because my profit loss ratio before was terrible. My entries were terrible, but I was giving it more room to move, so they worked out more often. But because I was giving it more room to move, my profit loss ratio was awful. And it made it seem like a lot of the stocks that I was jumping in were working. But in fact, if you tighten your stops, they don't work out so well. So we're learning. We're, it's good that the tuition is being paid by the simulator and not with real money, though. That's the whole purpose of this journey right now in the simulator. So we're not going to trade with real money until we get some confidence back. Right now, it would be very dangerous for me to do so. We're going to continue with the sim for a while longer, until the market starts heating up. But we're going to put more work in for sure into timestamping trades and looking back on what I did right, what I did wrong. But I do have to go. It's 8:42 here, so we're going to end it. Thank you to everyone that stopped by today. I'll be back at it again tomorrow. Sniper mode will be activated, creating only the best setups. But until then, thanks again. Take care. Stay green. And I'll see you next time. Peace.